On March 25th, 2002, millions of Americans turned into ABC to watch a random man date 25 women with the hopes of finding a wife. Unbeknownst to them, history was being made. For this wasn't just any random dating show. No, this was the dating show. This was The Bachelor. 21 years later, and The Bachelor now has 27 seasons. The Bachelorette, which is the same premise but just with a woman as the lead, has 20 seasons. And there's a myriad of spinoffs such as Bachelor in Paradise, where rejected Bachelor contestants get dumped on a beach and date each other, a la Love Island. There's even a spinoff called Bachelor Listen to Your Heart, where songwriters and artists meet, fall in love, and then write songs together, like High School Musical. Sign me up. And we aren't even counting all the remakes in the UK, Japan, Australia. It's safe to say that the Bachelor franchise is a worldwide phenomenon that will be here to stay forever. Or will it? If you've been paying attention to the Bachelor Nation at all within recent years, then you would know that after each season, there's always some article, a viral tweet, a rumor about The Bachelor being canceled. That's mostly due to the recent downturn of ratings within recent years. The recent premiere of The Bachelorette had 1.9 million viewers. Now, in today's climate of cable television, that may seem like a lot, but when you compare it to 17.9 million views that the original Bachelorette had, you can definitely see that there's been a loss of interest in the franchise. Now, you can say, okay, well, everyone's cutting their bill. No one's watching cable. But even if you look at the search volume of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette for the past 5 years, you can see that in every spike, which is when the actual seasons have aired, every spike just gets lower and lower and lower. So why is this? Why is The Bachelor tanking in ratings and all in all just seeming less and less relevant? Let's discuss. 2002 was a great year for American television. You had Kelly Clarkson, she was belting it out on American Idol. You had The Wire that had just premiered on HBO. The Osbournes, they were Osborning. You had Monk. You can't forget about Monk. Safe to say that this was an entertaining time for American television, especially with The Bachelor. The original premise of the show was that it was supposed to be the most eligible man in America dating all of these women. So the first Bachelor, his name was Alex Michael. He was a Stanford and a Harvard grad, and he also worked as a management consultant at Boston Consulting Group, which is like one of the top management consulting firms in the country. Unlike future seasons, this season actually only had 5 episodes. And in order to justify to America that it was a sane idea for one man to date 25 women in order to find love, they called The Bachelor an experiment. Does that sound familiar to you?
Please welcome to the Blind Love Experiment.
What you're about to see is a radical new social experiment.
The Bachelor is really the blueprint for modern dating shows. Like, that is so crazy to me. For people who don't know, the entire premise of the show is basically to date a whole bunch of people and then get engaged at the end. So it's like you can have your hoe phase and also get married. Crazy. So if you're the final pick, you're either expected to propose if you're a contestant on The Bachelorette, or accept a proposal if you're a contestant on The Bachelor. The need to get engaged and the focus on engagement is such a point of contention in the show. There's always a storyline of like one of the final picks getting cold feet or feeling like they can't get engaged, because if you think about it, they've only known the lead all of 7 to 8 weeks on the show. So like, yeah, they don't want to get engaged because they don't really know the person. The reason why I bring this up is because apparently on the first season of The Bachelor, no one got engaged. Now, Alex did have a final pick. Her name was Amanda, but he didn't get engaged to her because he, quote unquote, want to make sure that we feel the same way about each other outside of the fantasy worlds of mansions and limos. To me, the most dumb part of the Bachelor franchise is the fact that you're expected to get engaged. So it just is so crazy to me that in all the following seasons, even after the first lead said that that's a dumb idea, they still focus so much on getting engaged. But despite this wonky expectation, The Bachelor was a hit. All 5 episodes had an average of 16 million viewers. Since then, there has been over 27 seasons of the show, and some of the standout bachelors are Sean Lowe, who is the only bachelor to have actually married his lead. There was Nick Viall, who had not only 1 but 2 of his own seasons of The Bachelor, and no, he is not with any of the women that he picked. There's Colton, who ended up being the first openly gay bachelor. He came out after the show. Also became the first bachelor turned stalker. Yikes. Oh, and then there's Ari, who's more infamous than liked because he basically dumped his first pick Becca to date his second pick Lauren, and they're now married with like 3 kids, and Becca's married to another guy that she met on Bachelor in Paradise. That's the whole thing. But I did want to point all of this out because even though all of these people are like famous in the Bachelor world, only one of them is actually together with their final pick. The Bachelor franchise has a horrid track record when it comes to lasting relationships. If we take into account just the 2 main like series, there is a possible 47 couples that could be together today. Out of those 47, only 9 are together. 9. And 2 of those relationships aren't even with the final pick and the lead. 2 of them are with the final pick and their second choice. So that definitely tells you this may not be the best way for you to actually find a good relationship. So now that we know more about the Bachelor franchise and how it became popular, let's talk about why they're in their flop era. So if you aren't familiar with the franchise, here's the format of the show. So you have the premiere where you meet the contestants and the lead. And in the following weeks, you basically watch them spend time and fall in love with these contestants. Every week, the lead goes on a combination of solo and group dates and does a range of activities. During these activities, the lead learns more about the contestants, and if the lead wants the contestants to stay, then they'll give them one of the most infamous symbols of the Bachelor franchise, a rose. Now, roses can be given in 3 ways: solo dates, group dates, and the rose ceremony. So solo dates are normally meant to be the more romantic dates. There's more opportunity for romance because it's just one contestant and the lead. At the end of solo dates, the lead either determines that the contestant is a good fit and they want to learn more, then they'll give them a rose. If not, then at the end of that date, they'll send them home. Then there's group dates. Now, group dates work a little differently. In group dates, a group of contestants go on a date with the lead, and the entire point of the date is just to basically bring out competitiveness and or jealousy within the contestants because they see the person that they're dating basically having such a good time and flirting and kissing on all the other contestants. Now, whoever stands out in this group date, either by winning some type of competition or by like doing the right amount of trauma dumping and love bombing, whoever stands out gets a rose, and that marks them safe for elimination. After the lead has all the dates for the week, then they have the cocktail party. Now, the cocktail party is a way for the lead to continue to spend more time with the contestants, and it allows the contestants to make their last desperate plea for why they would be a good fit for the contestant and why they should stay. After the cocktail party, they have the rose ceremony, which now that I'm explaining this, I'm realizing like how needlessly complicated this show is. Like, it doesn't really need to be all this. At the end of that, then they have the rose ceremony, and at the rose ceremony, the lead gives out the remaining roses to the contestants that they want to stay, and then at the end of the ceremony, anyone who doesn't have a rose has to go home.
I honestly feel so sorry for you that you would listen to hearsay and not all of the facts. So, goodbye.
So this process repeats every week until the contestants are dwindled down into the final picks. After the final pick is revealed, they go on the After the Rose show where they parade around, say how much they love each other, how they're going to be together forever, and then they inevitably break up 5 months later. The little about this format has changed in the 20 plus years since its debut, and its age is starting to show a little. In the early 2002, I feel like America didn't get to see these things as often, like watching people go skydiving or watching them stay in this crazy mansion or watching them go to all these exotic locations. That was new, that was intriguing, that was cool. But in 2023, we have social media. Like, we see those things all the time, and so it's no longer as interesting. It's no longer as new. It's lost its shine. Like, in relation to like things that we can see just opening up YouTube, all these bachelor dates and antics, to me, and a lot of time pales in comparison to what I can see just opening up YouTube or opening up Instagram, you know? When I think of any other dating show that's like popping right now, it's always an ensemble of characters and couples. And this gives audience variety. We get to follow different kinds of people having completely different dating experiences. There's multiple romantic storylines that we can follow, and it gives us different couples to root for. I think that's why Bachelor in Paradise continues to be my favorite show in the series. For one thing, it takes takes itself way less seriously, but it's really just a whole bunch of people having fun and then just so happen to fall in love in the process. And I mean, I will say that there have been serious relationships. There are people who are married and who have kids who have come out of Bachelor in Paradise. So it's still a good environment to like meet your person, but it's just a lot more entertaining to watch because we get such a different variety of couples to watch every season. To me, it's a much more engaging show. Now, I do want to point out in season 19 of The Bachelorette, they did try to like spice it up a little bit. They actually had 2 leads instead of 1, but I can tell you that season was a hot mess. Season Gabby and Rachel were both a part of Clayton Echard's season, which that itself was a hot mess for it was just really bad for a number of reasons. But the way that season panned out, combined with the relationship that they showed on the show and the friendship that they had with each other, I think it gave the producers the idea to have 2 leads. The issue is the producers didn't really think through what having 2 leads would mean. Now, there's multiple reasons why this format didn't pan out, but I think a lot of it was just laziness on the side of the producers. At least once a week, Jesse Palmer, former Bachelor and current host of the show, say something like, "This is unprecedented. We've never had this before." Or, "It's really up to you two and what you all want to do." Which sounds all well and good, but in reality, it just translates to, "We, the producers, did not think of this scenario before we started the show. We were too lazy to realize that having 2 bachelorettes and over 35 contestants means that everyone gets less screen time. So now the audience will feel like they don't know anyone, and it will make them really hard to find the reasons to care about watching the show." But it's fine, because if we just brand it as the most dramatic season ever, they'll watch, right? We didn't watch. You could tell that the producers just wanted to say that they did something new, or they changed up the format just to say that they changed up the format. They didn't actually care about making a good show that season. If they did, it was hard to watch. It was hard to see it in the final product. And what resulted was just a strange and weird season that felt both too long and too short at the same time. And that brings me to my next point about why this format is outdated. An average season of The Bachelor is about 12 2-hour episodes and about a 3-hour finale. I don't know how they convince us to watch 3-hour finales every season, but we do. And that results in a season that is about 25 hours. That's 25 hours of television to tell one person's love story. For comparison, Love is Blind, which follows on average about 4 to 5 couples a season, is 11 1-hour episodes, and maybe with a combination of the finale and the reunion show, like a 3 extra hours. So that's like about 15 hours of time to tell 4 to 5 couples stories. 14 to 15 hours for 5 couples and 25 hours of television for one couple. You can see why that can get boring very quickly. But Imani, didn't you just say that like when there's more than one bachelorette, people didn't feel connected to the cast and there was not enough time and da-na-na-na-na? Yes, I did say that. But that has more to do with how the producers use the screen time than the screen time itself. In addition to padding the airtime by having the leads stare off into the distance and pensively long for all the love that they're missing in their lives, the producers also pad this time by focusing on the contestants and the inevitable drama that comes with having all of these people live in a house together. This is where we get classic Bachelor villains like Tiara from Sean Lowe's season or Victoria F from Peter's season.
You literally just came in here to act like that? Are you kidding me?
Excuse me? I literally
Excuse you what?
Their only true purpose from the show is just to add antics to the plot and make things a little more dramatic. Producers also use this time to focus on the more likable characters so we can get to know their personalities, a little bit of their background, so that way when they're inevitably eliminated from the show, we care enough to watch their journey when they get to Bachelor in Paradise. Now, in theory, this should be a great way to use all that extra time in your show, and it probably was a great time for a few seasons, but lately it's not working. The drama is often the same each season. There's always those 1 or 2 villains that no one likes. Call them clout chasers. They always use the famous line, they aren't here for the right reasons. There's always that one contestant who has a kid, so like they're really cautious to really fall in love with the contestant. There's always the singer who everyone thinks is just there. There's always that one contestant who actually knows the other contestant's sister's brother's daughter's cousin, so they have dirt on them. Like, I've only been watching the franchise, 4.5, maybe 5 years, and I'm already done with the drama. I've seen every iteration that there can be, and like, I know what to expect. It's getting boring, it's getting stale. Please give me something new, you know? I understand that sometimes there is comfort in the familiar, but I think what makes the drama boring is that it's too manufactured. It seems too produced. And that brings me to my second reason why I think the ratings are down. Overproduction. Now, we all know that reality TV is very rarely real. Producers are often the writers of reality television. Their entire goal is to provide the most dramatic and entertaining version of reality that they can. This results in producers manipulating their cast using tactics such as sleep deprivation, alcohol, isolating them from the outside world. All you have to do is look at the recent allegations of misconduct from Love is Blind contestants, even from Bachelor contestants themselves, to see all of the ways that producers drum up drama or push a certain narrative to drive the show. During a Q&A session, Bachelor alum Blake Hortzman talked about why he wouldn't be returning to the franchise. He says, "I didn't want to go back to an environment that breeds toxicity and emotional abuse. I didn't want to put my life in the hands of people that don't really have your best interest in mind. It's like having a life coach who pushed you to do all the wrong things." Yikes. Despite what we know as the audience to be true, for most, as long as the show is entertaining, it gives them something to put in the group chat or talk about the next day, a lot of people can kind of overlook the manipulation that may be happening behind the camera and behind the scenes. But in my opinion, because the drama has been so bad, it makes it harder to ignore the production. Now, in previous seasons, again, there's always been a villain that's there to stir up the pot, to cause drama, to make things a little more interesting, but it was entertaining in a way, you know? Like, in previous years, the drama was an accessory to the romance, a seasoning to the meal, a side dish, if you will. And I feel like all of that changed in season 24 of The Bachelor, Peter Weber's season. The drama stopped being a side dish and became the whole meal. In previous seasons, contestants who were in too much drama essentially always got eliminated from the show. So it was like, if you're in drama, you were eliminated. That's kind of like 2 and 2. That's how it went. In Peter Weber's season, it became the opposite. Contestants were rewarded for the drama. They were getting roses, either from the lead, or they were getting so much extended screen time that it basically guaranteed them a spot in Bachelor in Paradise. Seeing this, more contestants basically started being in more drama, and drama became the whole show. There was very little romance, and by the end of it, the entire season just felt like a shit show. A really, really bad shit show. And it wasn't just this season. This common trend continued into Matt James's season. Now, Matt James's was less so because he didn't necessarily feed into the drama. He just didn't realize that a lot of it was going on until after the fact. But a lot of the contestants on the show basically just ended up being bullies. A lot of the women often ganged up on members of the house that they felt like they were a threat to. When new contestants showed up halfway through the season, all hell broke loose. The drama stopped from being funny and kind of ridiculous to downright bullying. Now, I want to take this chance to talk about the distinct differences when I'm discussing producer-led drama that we've seen in earlier Bachelor seasons versus what we've seen in newer Bachelor seasons like Peter Weber's season and Matt James's. Two very distinct different kinds of drama can be seen in Matt James's season. So an example of a producer-planted, lighthearted kind of dumb drama happens when the producers, for some reason, decide to invite a former Bachelor contestant by the name of Heather Martin. So Heather had previously met, and I guess she had indicated that she had feelings for Matt James. So the producers convinced her to show up to the mansion halfway through the season and ask Matt to join the competition. Now, from an audience perspective, obviously this has production drama all over it. It was dumb, and most people figured out based on the footage that he probably wasn't going to keep her regardless. But it was still funny to actually watch her show up to the mansion in a ball gown, driving a minivan, and then watching all the other contestants respond to her showing up. Matt James's reaction is literally all of us watching the season. Like, it was so funny. But honestly, it was entertaining, and we all knew at the end of the day she probably wasn't going to stay, and the drama was pretty low stakes. That's the kind of fun drama that I'm looking for when I want to watch The Bachelor. Now compare that to the drama that happened the previous week, where a contestant, Anna Redmond, actually accused one of the contestants of being an escort on national television with no proof. Now, regardless of how you think about sex work, we all can agree that when you accuse someone of that, especially on national television, that has real life repercussions. Like, someone can lose their job, like their reputation, their family's reputation, all of that by saying something, especially so lightly, and the drama into real life bullying that has real life repercussions. And then that just takes the fun of it. Like, I no longer want to watch you. I no longer want to see you on my television. I want you gone. Bullying on that season got so bad that when one girl finally got fed up and went to Matt James about it, she single-handedly guaranteed herself her own Bachelorette season, even though she was nowhere near making it to hometowns. That's almost like unprecedented. But that's just how much the audience was fed up that when Katie said something, everyone was like, please give her her only season, because she seems to be the only decent person on the show. Producers were willing to do anything to up the ratings, anything to bring up the drama and the antics. So much so that it felt like the producers were goading the contestants to be as mean as possible, and they purposely chose not to step in when needed in order to ensure that the house remained a safe environment for all the contestants. Not only that, but they did not have to put in all of that drama with Shanae and calling that other contestant an escort. Like, they didn't have to show that. They didn't have to put that in all the previews. They didn't have to put that on primetime television, but they chose to. And that in itself shows you like how bad the overproduction of drama has gotten to this franchise. What I'm describing is not necessarily unique to the Bachelor franchise. Like, you can see that in a lot of reality television. But what I think differentiates the Bachelor franchise from all of these other shows is just the length that the show has been around. The contestants who go on The Bachelor, they know what they're doing. They have studied the rule book 3 times over, and they know exactly what to expect. They know exactly how to play to the camera, and they know the opportunities that can come by being a popular contestant of The Bachelor. And it becomes more and more obvious every episode. Like, normally by season 3 of a season, there's always a group of contestants that can tell that they're not going to make it that far with the lead, and you can see them like desperately try to cling on to any amount of airtime to try to get on to Bachelor in Paradise. This includes throwing themselves into drama, picking fights with other contestants, saying ridiculous things to the lead or to other contestants to try to get a little try to like come up with like a catchphrase or put themselves in situations that they know the audience will root for. Like, it becomes very, very apparent very fast. These contestants stop feeling like real human beings, and they like slip into like a stereotype or caricature that I feel like we as audience members already kind of know in our head. Like, to me, there's a certain air of desperation that you find in Bachelor contestants that you don't necessarily see in other franchises. And I think it's because the Bachelor franchise has so many spinoffs. So you have Bachelor contestants who maybe want to be in Paradise, Bachelor contestants who may want to be a host of one of their numerous podcasts, or a numerous of other spinoffs that they have in other countries, because that's happened before. Being a Bachelor contestant in itself is just an audition for numerous other opportunities that could happen or come about. And though that's not necessarily shocking, especially in the world of reality television, I think that combined with just how the show is edited, combined with all of the overproduction, combined with the long runtime of the show, it just doesn't make a good viewing experience, you know? When I watch The Bachelor these days, I feel like I'm watching a caricature of the show itself, not the show. Now to my last point, racism. Now listen, I do not have the emotional or mental capacity to talk in detail about all the ways in which I think The Bachelor fails, both in representation, true diversity, and inclusion, but I would just leave you with this point. There's been 26 Bachelors over 21 years. There is only one non-white bachelor. Matt James is the only non-white bachelor. He is not the first black bachelor. He is not the first mixed bachelor. He is the first non-white bachelor. Like, let that sink in. When your lineup of leads looks like the lineup of US presidents, I think we have an issue. And like, obviously there's more than black and white people in America. Like, there's never been an Asian bachelor. There's never been like a Native American or indigenous bachelor. Like, there has been one, I think, Hispanic bachelor, but even then, like, he's white Hispanic. And so it's like, now I will say the bachelorette lineup does look a little better, but even then there's only been white or black bachelorettes and it's still overwhelmingly white. Now, contestant wise, yes, it has gotten better in recent years contestant wise, but even if you look at how screen time is broken down, even though the contestants are more diverse, overwhelmingly white contestants overwhelmingly get more screen time. We're not even going to talk about the treatment of the women of color contestants or the black women contestants, which is not just something that's unique to The Bachelor. That's unique to reality television and all. I will say, if you're more interested in that topic, I will put some videos you can watch below or link up above. There's already YouTubers who have gone over this topic a lot better than I ever could, so I'll just link you to them if you're interested in that. I do want to give the producers credit, especially with this current season that's airing right now. Charity's season of The Bachelorette is airing, and a lot of the flaws that I've outlined in this video, the producers seem to have been trying to make an effort to fix. This season is shorter. It seems like it's flying by. There's less crazy serious drama. The drama seems genuine. Her final picks in the final four seem to be very much genuine. I would also say that a lot of the quote-unquote diverse cast members are getting a significant amount of screen time as well, but still, you know, less people are watching and they don't seem to care as much, and I think that's because the damage at this point has already been done. But yeah, I did just want to put that in there because I actually started writing the script before Charity season started, so I did want to point out that it seems like the producers are hearing what the audience is saying and they are actively trying to fix it. I just think it's too late. Now, I want to be clear. I do like, I know you can't tell from this video, but I actually do like enjoy watching the Bachelor franchise. I do. But I will say it has less to do with the show itself and more to do with just the community that I've built around the show. Like, I realized just this year that me and my cousins, we all watch the show. So like, I get to text them and talk about the show. Me and my aunt talk about the show all the time. Like, I more so use the Bachelor as just a way to connect with people than like truly and really enjoying the show itself. And I've heard very similar sentiments among other people as well. Now, I don't think The Bachelor is going to get canceled anytime soon, especially with everything going on with the writers and actors strike. Like, reality TV is as important to American execs as ever. And when we're talking about a long running franchise like The Bachelor, I don't think that they would get rid of something like that. Even if ABC does decide to smoke crack and for some reason cancel The Bachelor, I'm sure some of the 50-11 streaming services will pick it back up. Now, in terms of the future of The Bachelor franchise, I am recording this like a few days after they announced The Golden Bachelor, and I'm not even gonna lie to you all, I am really excited. The main guy, his name is Gary, and he's from Indiana. Like, the jokes write themselves. What?
Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana.
Despite all this, with the way that Bachelor and the Bachelorette series is going, I don't think they're going to be able to maintain the same level of relevancy and viewers that they have even at this time. The death of The Bachelor is going to be a very slow one. Slow, sad, and dying. I think with every passing season, there's going to be less and less people talking about it, less and less people watching, until one day we look up and it's going to be on Tubi. And its final episode will just be a whimper in the wind. But until then, I will keep watching the show and making sure that all the contestants are there for the right reasons. Yeah, that's the reason why I think The Bachelor is tanking in ratings. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Is there anything that you would agree with? Is there anything that you are like, you disagree with? Like, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please like and subscribe. I am a newer channel, and so that would really help me out a lot. I have a lot of plans and just ideas for things that I want to talk about and ramble on about. So please look forward to that. Imani out.